I was going to play something else, but then I thought I have the opportunity to finish this. So, let's finish it.
Welcome to learning. Let's go, kiddo. Woohoo!
Oh, to the Science City.
Choose one of these top. Check the map to see which science subjects you've
I
already
hope
seen.
Woody isn't there.
Ooh, welcome to the spectacular Science City. Look around and...
Have I read about the clock? First electrical powered clocks were built in 1900s. Electric motor turned by hand of clock, and vibrating crystal controls watch hands. Quartz crystal fits inside the watch. This watch looks the same as a wind-up clockwork watch, but is powered by a small battery. Tiny quartz crystals were introduced because the vibrations are extremely regular. Quartz clocks watches highly accurate. What about the little telly? Tell me about the little telly. No. Nothing about the telly. I can go up the ladder? No. Let's learn about geography. Earth. Our home, the Earth, is the third planet from the Sun. It is the only planet known to support life. It is the only place in the solar system where liquid water is found. The Earth is moving through space all the time. It spins around itself, making one full turn every 24 hours. And then it stops, like that animation. It also turns around or orbits the Sun, taking 365 days to complete one orbit. Ah, it's moving again. It stopped. Ah, it's Mercer. The Earth is not a solid ball. The outside is a thin shell of rock called the crust. Under the crust is a thick layer of rock called the mantle. This is so warm that it flows very slowly, like treacle. The Earth's core is 3,000 kilometers, 1,800 miles down. The outer core is so hot that it is molten. The inner core is solid. It cannot melt because the pressure is so high the heat is left over from the planet's formation. It is also generated by nuclear reactions deep inside the Earth. Crust, mantle, outer core, inner core. The crust, the core. The Earth is a little like an egg, with a thin shell, a semi-runny mantle, and a hard center called the core. Who knows? Have you ever been to the core? Fucker, Woody? Earth's atmosphere. The invisible layer of air surrounding the Earth is known as the atmosphere. Without the atmosphere, life would not survive on Earth. The atmosphere protects the Earth from the Sun. Harmful radiation, it also keeps the surface of the Earth warm by trapping energy from the Sun as heat. Although you cannot see them, there are 5 different layers of air in the atmosphere. Layers of atmosphere. Earth's atmosphere reaches from the ground to 500 kilometers, 200 miles high. Yes. Wonderful. Look, a little plane, Woody. Or a radiator. Do we examine you? How heat travels. Heat can pass from one substance to another in 3 ways. Although it always transfers from hot to cold substances, heat travels through solid objects by a process called conduction, while convection spreads heat through gases and liquids. All objects give out heat rays that travel through air and space. The movement of heat by heat rays is called radiation. Convection heater, thermos flask, toaster. Using heaters and toasters transfer heat energy, flasks stop heat flowing. One of the ways heat can travel is by radiation. This is how the sun heats up the earth and how a toaster heats bread. All objects give out invisible radiation known as infrared. This is sometimes called heat radiation. Radiation can sometimes something up without touching it. We are surrounded by radiation all the time. However, increased doses of radiation can be harmful to living things. Inside toaster. Heating element of a toaster heats the bread by radiation. Toast rack. Heating element. Convection is how heat moves through gases and liquids. When liquids and gases become warm, they become less dense, and so they rise, moving the heat to a warm place. For example, air warmed by a convection heater in a room rises toward the ceiling. As it does this, cooler air moves in to take its place. The cooler air is then warmed by heater, rises too. The circulating air carries the warmth all through the room. Goes in the bottom, comes out the top. Convection heater, hot air rises. Convection currents. A convection heater warms the air passing through it. The hot air rises and it cools, falls back down. Heat can pass through materials by conduction. For example, if you hold a metal poker in a fire, the heat travels along the poker towards your hand. The poker feels warm. Some materials conduct heat better than others. Metals are good conductors, while plastics and glass are not. Materials that are not good conductors are called insulators. Heat can only conduct through matter. This means that in a vacuum where there is no matter, heat cannot conduct. Stopper, liquid, vacuum. Vacuum flask. In a flask, the vacuum stops heat passing to or from the drink inside. Yay. Looks like we're done here. Done the little clock. Done the little picture. Done the little heaters. Books. No, that thing. No, window. I can look at either heater. Is either one different from the other? Are you different from the other one? Nope. Let's go out this door. We are free. Don't know where we are. Let's look at the cat poster. City pets. Scaly, slimy, furry or slippery. Mammals are animals with fur that raise their young by feeding them on milk produced by the mother. There are about 4,000 mammal species like birds. Mammals are warm-blooded and they live all over the world. There are many different groups of mammals, including some that lay eggs, others that can fly. Baby wallaby. After being born, this Australian wallaby stayed in its mother's pouch so that it could feed on her milk. How nice, the little rat creature. Birds are the world's most successful flying animals. Some fly thousands of miles every year, and a few can stay airborne for months at a time, and even sleep while they are in the air. Oh, that's interesting. They sleep in the air. There are about 9,000 species of birds, including water birds, birds of prey. All birds have feathers and all produced by laying eggs. Water birds. The mallard is a freshwater duck, often seen in parks and on the lakes, and in Chinese restaurants. There are over 25,000 kinds of fish in the world. All fish live underwater and need oxygen to survive. Water is harder to move through than air, so most fish have streamlined bodies covered with overlapping scales that slip through the water easily. Some fish live in the sea, others live in freshwater habitats such as lakes, rivers. Great white shark, the world's largest predatory fish, often swallow its prey in one gulp. Is that the largest one? Well, no, it's not. In history, the megalodon, or whatever, was the largest one. Although I suppose it's the largest predator fish. Reptiles are scaly-skinned animals that live mainly in warm parts of the world. There are 6,000 species of reptiles alive today, but long ago there were many more, including the famous dinosaurs. Most reptiles lay eggs with leathery shells, but a few species give birth to live young. Crocodile is one of the biggest reptiles alive today. They reproduce by laying eggs. Amphibians usually spend part of their lives in water. Most of them begin life as tadpoles and then slowly change shape as they grow and develop into adults. There are about 3,000 species of amphibian. They live in and near lakes, ponds and damp places, but they cannot survive in the ocean. Tree frog. Most frogs live on the ground, but some are good climbers and spend their lives in trees, being eaten by snake. Invertebrates. Invertebrates are animals that do not have a backbone. They include worms, spiders, insects, and they make up over 95% of all animal species. On Earth, many invertebrates are soft-bodied, such as jellyfish, while others are protected by shells, such as crabs and shrimps. Living in case, ants are invertebrates called arthropods. They have jointed legs and a hard outer shell. How nice. We learned something. Arthropods. We can't really go anywhere here. Well, we can look at the door. It's good. Look at the lamp. Ah, we can move. Oh, we can look at the bike. Or oil. It takes millenniums of oil to use to form deep underground. We use oil to make petrol, plastics, paints, many other useful things. It is brought to the surface by drilling deep holes called wells. Some oil deposits are beneath the seabed, while others are beneath dry land. Pipelines carry oil from the oil well to an oil terminal or tanker port. Oil rig. An oil rig provides a platform for drilling below the seabed. Or, if you're like BP, the oil goes right into the ocean instead of in the oil rig. I haven't read much about that fucking oil spill. It was about however many years ago. I wonder if that Gulf is still fucked up. Well, we don't learn about bikes, we learn about oil. Coal. What's this? Learn about leaking Fire hydrants. Drugs. Learn about drugs. Ooh, look. We're in the garage. Go on then. What's this? Tell me what this piece of shit
When a
is.
snooker cue hits a ball, the force of the knock causes the ball to start moving in a straight line until it hits another ball. The force of this collision then causes the white ball to change direction.
More
The
drink.
same force also causes the red ball to start moving. Friction will then cause both balls to slow down until eventually they stop moving altogether.
What are you fucking talking to me for, you bastard? Forces push or pull objects. They can cause things to start or stop moving, change direction or change shape or size. Forces may be large or small. Your weight is a force which pulls you downwards. However, the floor gives an equal upward force, balancing your weight so you do not fall through the floor. Collisions. Hitting a ball with a cue stick creates a force that makes the ball move. Yes! Good. Balance forces. Pull on a rope and it will move towards you, not away. If someone else is pulling in the other direction, as in a tug of war, the rope will move in the direction of the strongest force, or the person who is pulling the hardest. If you both pull with the same amount of force, the two pull forces balance each other out, and the rope will not move in any direction, or maybe the rope will break. Tug of war. If both teams pull with the same force, neither will win the tug of war, or the rope will break. If it's a good rope, I suppose it wouldn't. Piece of shit rope might
When
break.
you use a corkscrew to pull a cork from a bottle, several simple machines are working together. The handle is a wheel and axle that turns the screw. As the
Yay.
screw turns, it pulls its way into the cork. The toothed wheels are gears that lift the arms, ready to push down and lift the cork. The two lifting arms are levers.
And then
As you push
leverage.
them down, the gears pass on the force to the central screw shaft, which pulls the cork out of the
What?
bottle with a pop.
Lever. Is that what she said? Lever? Yeah, like a lever. I suppose they look like little levers. Handle is a wheel and an axle. Lifting arms are levers. Toothed wheels are gears. Neck of bottom. Oh, I like this better than the snooker balls. It's good. Makes you think a different way about the corkscrew. How it's doing multiple things. Simple machines help us to perform tasks for which we do not have enough strength. Why do you use the other corkscrew? You've got enough strength for pulling the fucking cork out, you stupid bastard. Simple machines include devices such as pulleys, screws and levers, all of which make your job easier. For instance, levers and pulleys help us to lift heavy objects. Working together, a corkscrew consists of several simple machines working together. Simple machines. Mechanisms, you dumb fuck. Simple mechanism. I don't think they're machines. I don't think this little thing here will count as a machine, or that will be mechanisms. Possibly. Maybe some other word.
Like all machines, gears make work much easier. They do this by connecting two gear wheels together. By turning one wheel, the other wheel also turns. A small gear wheel can make a larger one turn with greater force. This is what happens when you use a can opener. A large gear wheel can make a smaller one turn with less force, but with much greater speed. This is useful when you want a bike to pick up speed on a flat surface.
All gears are wheels with teeth cut into the rim. The teeth fit into the teeth of another gear. By having gear wheels of different sizes with different numbers of teeth, the second gear will turn faster or slower than the first. This exerts more or less force. The second gear, more or less force. Cars, bikes, and mechanical clocks and watches all have gears. If you turn the large gear, the small gear will turn faster in the opposite direction. Okay, she stopped talking to me. A pulley is a rope or belt that passes over a wheel. Pulleys allow you to lift things more easily. A pull on one end of the rope can lift a load attached to the other end. Two or more pulleys work together are called a block and tackle. In machines such as cranes, pulleys are often driven by an engine or an electric motor. Some pulleys are hung from roofs. Powerful crane. This crane uses a pulley which makes it easier to lift its heavy load. Tackle. Where's that thing? Tackle. 2 or more working together as a block and tackle. Lever. A lever is a var that turns or pivots at a fixed point called a fulcrum. Pushing down on one end of a lever makes the other end rise, just like a seesaw. A lever can help you lift heavy loads. If you put a heavy box on one end of a lever and push down on the other end, the box will rise more easily than if you try to lift it without the lever. The closer you move the fulcrum to the load, the easier the load will be to lift. A lever in action. The weight of the girl on one end of the seesaw causes the load on the other end to rise. That's right, if you weigh more than the box, you'll rise the box. Not by a lot, I suppose. That box looks like it weighs nothing. So, say she weighed 50 pounds and the box weighed 25 pounds. She'd push it. Would she push it that much? 50 pounds on 25 pounds. Or would the box be like here? Wheel and axle. The engine of a Jeep turns a shaft called an axle. At each end of the axle is a wheel. The axle turns the wheel to drive the car along in some machines, such as steering wheels. The wheel is turned to exert a force on the axle. Bicycle pedals act together as a wheel, turning an axle that is joined to the cycle chain. 4-wheel drive. There are 2 axles on this Jeep. Each one turns 2 wheels, so this is a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Each wheel turns 2 axles. Anything else to read? Little circuit map, does that shit? Okay, what's that shit? Ooh, sink. Wash our hands. Liquids. Oil, water and milk are all substances. They're usually liquids. The particles in a liquid can move around more easily than in a solid, so a liquid can flow. A drink of liquid water always takes the shape of the drinking glass. If you spill the water, it flows to take on a new shape. Liquid particles. Moving particles. Particles in a liquid can move past each other. Oil. Oil. I suppose you can turn oil into a solid, make it plastic. Although I don't know how plastic's made. I don't think it's just oil. I think they add something else to it. Water can be made into steam, a gas, or it can be made into a solid ice. Milk. Milk turns into a solid itself when it coagulates, when it gets rotten and old. Or I suppose cheese counts as a solid. Or yogurt, solid-ish. Or frozen yogurt, solid-ish. A gas. Milk can be a gas. Probably some type of gas comes out of it. So it can all be changed, the liquid shit. Solids. Tables, stones and spoons are solids. They have fixed shapes and volumes because their particles are packed tightly together. These particles vibrate to and fro but cannot move from their positions. If a solid is heated, its particles vibrate more rapidly and the solid may become a liquid. Particles in a solid. There it is. Look, little ball bearings all stuffed together. Vibrating particles. Strong forces between particles in a solid keep the particles in position. Next. The air around us is a mixture of invisible gases. Gases have no fixed shape. They spread out to fill any available space. The particles of a gas are spaced far apart and move about freely at high speed. Gases become liquids if cooled below their boiling point. Gas particle. Gas particles, the high-speed particles that make up a gas, are spaced far apart. So gas is far apart, solids are close together. What was liquid? Let's look at liquid again. Liquid are like scattered, close and far apart. Solids are all stuffed close together, and gas are far apart. So liquids are a mixture of close together, far apart. Solids all close together, gases are far apart. Interesting. We see water as a liquid every day, but it can also exist as a solid and a gas. Water is called ice when it is solid, and steam when it is a gas. Like water, most matter can exist in these 3 different forms. However, Some materials can only exist in one state. For example, wood can only ever exist as a solid. Wrong. If you burn wood, it turns to smoke. So, it's a gas. Right? Just add heat. If you add heat to ice, it becomes liquid water. If liquid water gets hot enough, it boils and turns into a gas. What is the only solid that can exist? Glass is sand. Sand is a solid, I guess. Glass is a solid, sand is a solid. You can melt glass, so it turns into a liquid. So sand is a liquid, as well as a solid. I don't think it becomes a gas. But this is shit about wood. Wood, burn it, it turns into ash, I suppose. But it also turns into smoke. Or is that the fire causing the smoke? No, you think it's the wood. Like, you can smoke wood. You don't have to set wood on fire. Like, if you put wood in a hot metal dish, it'll turn to smoke. So you can smoke wood. It can turn to a gas. So I don't know what idiot fucking thought of that. Wood is a solid. There can't be anything else. Okay, moving on. Anyway, ice is a solid. Yeah, sort of. And then it turns to liquid water. Then it turns to a gas. See? Gas, like wood. I'm trying to think if water can be anything else other than ice to be a solid. Maybe, but I can't think of it. If it does exist. Now the circuit map. Good, we had to learn about either cars or electric. Circuits. To light a light bulb, electric current must flow from a power source through the bulb and back again. The path the electric current follows is called a circuit. If there is a break in the circuit, such as when a switch is open, current cannot flow. Circuits can be connected either in series or in parallel. Fairy lights are connected in series. The electric current flows through one bulb after the other. Conductors, insulators. Electric current flows easily through some materials. Such materials are known as good conductors of electricity. Materials that do not conduct electricity well are called insulators. The cables that carry electric current to electric appliances have a metal wire inside them. The wire allows the current to flow, but is covered in plastic, which is an insulator. Insulators are used to stop the electric current from flowing where it is not wanted.